Hey guys, my name is Joel, and I'm excited that you can be a part of our first Advent devotional of this season. I'm excited about what God is going to be doing, and I'm going to try and keep this brief. So let's jump right in. Before we jump into any Bible verses or passages, we're not going to do that today. We're just going to lay the groundwork for what this is going to be about. And so I just think it's important to say right off the bat that Advent is not just a season to prepare our hearts for Christmas. That's part of it. That's definitely an important part of it. And that's kind of what I always thought. But it's more than that. The word Advent comes from Latin, and it literally translated, it just means coming. And Advent is a time for us to reflect on and to focus on the coming of Christ, really in three different ways. We think about the coming of Christ, his first coming as a baby, what we think about every year, in the manger, Bethlehem, all of that. And then we think about the present coming of Christ, the coming of Christ into our hearts. And last, we think about the second coming of Christ. We wait and hope and expect his second coming, that when Jesus is coming back and he's going to make all things right. That's what Advent is about. It's more than just Jesus' birth, although that is it. It's also about hoping and waiting and expecting for him to come again. And so the way this is going to look is we're going to post these Advent devotionals every weekday until Christmas Day. And we are going to, not Saturdays and Sundays. And every week we're going to have a different focus hymn. So we're going to pick a Christmas hymn to focus on. They're just so biblically rich and just full of gospel truth. And so we're going to pick a different hymn to focus on. And I'm going to encourage you to use that hymn throughout the week, listen to it, and use it as a springboard into worship and into prayer. And then during the devotional time, we're going to use it as a springboard into a different biblical text or passage that has Advent themes. And so for this week, we're going to be talking about the song, O Come, Emmanuel. I love a song, one of my favorite Christmas hymns. And I'm going to be listening to the version by Robbie C. Band. I also really like the Pentatonics version. You take your pick of whatever version you want to listen to. But I encourage you to start listening to that song and, again, use it as a springboard into worship and prayer. And I will say one of my favorite, or what I love about this hymn so much, is that it doesn't really matter what the problem is, what it says in the verse or whatever, whether it's death's dark shadows, or that Israel mourns in lonely exile, or our sad divisions, all these different problems. There's always one answer. There's always one answer that the hymn writer has. It's to rejoice for Emmanuel shall come to thee, O Israel. That's the answer. No matter what, is that Emmanuel, that God with us, is coming. And that's why we're called to rejoice. And I love that. And I think my hope and my prayer for us during this time is that we would see the goodness and glory of God more clearly, that would be our hope. That would be our focus during this season, is God, who he is. And that we would see him so clearly that everything else would just kind of fade away, that everything else wouldn't seem to matter as much. All the busyness of this season, all the craziness of this season would just kind of fade away in the light of the glory of God. That's my hope and my prayer for us this season. So I do have a question, or I guess a challenge for you as we wrap up, is think about something today. Think about what can you do, just practically speaking, what can you do to really make this season important, to really make this season, take advantage of this season. What can you do? Whether it's I'm going to commit to doing this Advent devotional every day and talking to my friend or my spouse or whoever it is about it. Maybe it is I'm going to cut back on some of the commitments I made. Maybe I don't need to go to so many different functions or do so many different things or or maybe I don't need to get so many different gifts for all my family. Whatever it is, what can you do to kind of take the focus off of all the busyness and craziness and put the focus on God? That's my challenge for you. Think about that and then make a commitment to yourself and then maybe even to someone else and say, this is what I'm going to do to really make this season, take the most advantage of the season that I can. Yeah, so I'm excited. Like I said, look out for these every single day. We're going to be posting them, and have a great day. Thanks, guys.